Let's discuss the overall overview of the GitHub working. So on the github.com, you have already created your account. Under that account, we have created one repository with the AAS name, and we have already created one branch with the basic prototype name. So the next step is to clone that branch on your local machine, right? So this is suppose your PC. So your first step is to clone it. The second step is to make changes to that code or that folder, and the third step is to get the latest version of the repository into your local folder. So for that you will have to pull it and then you will have to fetch it. So the latest code will come, and if there are any, and the result of your change, if there are any conflicts, so you will have to resolve those conflicts. After resolving the conflicts, you will stage and commit your changes. So that those will be saved locally, your commits will be saved locally, and then when you push them, so your changes will go to the branch. After the branch, your commits are there, so your group members can now pull your branch and verify your changes. After they approve your changes, you create actually the pull request, and that pull request is then having your changes which will be reviewed by your group members, and after their approval, the team leader can then merge that branch to the main trunk and then delete that branch. To clone the branch on your local PC, there are two approaches. One is through the GitHub desktop application, which you can download from desktop.github.com. Just click on this link and you will have to install it on your local machine. And the second approach is to install. Of course, you will have to install the Git on your local computer, and assuming that it is installed, so it is automatically getting integrated your integrated development environment IDE, if it is a NetBeans or if it is Visual Studio.com. So you will automatically see the Git menu, and you can manage without using the GitHub desktop. You can directly clone your code into the IDE and make changes and then commit them directly from your IDE. So in this session we are only covering the GitHub desktop version. So let's start. I have already installed the GitHub desktop version. So let's clone that repository to our local machine. For cloning on our repository, we have already the branch selected, and we can go to the code and just copy this URL. Okay, click on this, so the URL is copied. Now we can go back to the GitHub desktop and go to the file, click on the clone repository and go to the URL tab and then just press this URL. By default now it is going to the C drive 0US folder, and under that the AAS folder. So let's just clone it here. You can change this path. Okay, after the cloning is completed, so we will have this folder. So now you can see that in the same path set the DS folder and it is cloned, and by default we have .git hidden folder which is maintained by the Git, and then we have like the .ignore file for the Flutter. So you can open it and see how the template is working. You see that what are included: static .js and info.json.js. So these files will be maintained by the versioning system, and the rest will be ignored, and these folders will be maintained and versioning. Some will be ignored and some will be, you can set up this template by according to your needs. And we also have the default license like the MIT license detail, and we have our readme file here. So now we are going to make some changes to this branch. Okay, so step 2. So now in the repository I have created 3 folders: code, database and docs. And in the code I have written a file like coding and UI instructions, like what will be the coding standards and what UI or user interface instruction we should be following, all the principles of the UI that we need to follow in this project. So I have added this instruction for the whole group. And then in the database I have created the SQL script, like what is the schema to generate this database on the SQL server. And then under the docs I have created I have put the advanced automated attendance system thesis files, which let me quickly go through so that I can explain how it should look like. So your project name should be here, like whatever is the name, and then you will have like the group members and who is the team leader, and you will have proper table of contents which can be generated by going to the insert tab and the references section, and then the table of contents. When you create any file you can do this thing. So I have created the first chapter is like your proposal chapter, the example from the Glamour book, and third section. So you will just go and look at this section, and then how you write the vision and business cases of your semester project. So the example is given here. You can go to the textbook and see this. And what should be the use case model, you can write about it. What are the supplementary specification, the glossary section, risk list and risk management plan. And then in the chapter 2 you have use case diagram section. These are properly given the proper headings, right? So this is the main heading, this is the subheading, and then the brief level. And note that under the brief level there must be a third header of the student name or the group member, right, or developer or whoever is, and then has registration number. And then you in the fourth header you have the process sale. So it is probably easy to look into which brief level was written by which student. Okay, so you should follow these headers and folders and so on and so forth. So one example of the fully addressed use case is given here. This is from the book, and you can just look into this. This is only this is for the one column framework, but you are supposed to write in the two column framework. Okay, that will be the only difference. Okay. So now after adding these changes to our repository, let's go to the GitHub desktop, and you see that the application is already directed that we have made the changes to the folder. Okay, so what we should do, we can first go and pull this repository. By default the main is selected, right? So it should have been the branch, but now we are going to commit directly into the main branch. So you can select the branch or you can select the main. You see the branch is also coming here, but let's commit it directly to the main to shorten this video. So first you should fetch the original version of the main, and when it is here it is refreshing the repository and it says that it is just fetched. Okay, so it has pulled and it has fetched the latest version. There are no conflicts and our changes are ready to be committed. So you will provide some description that initial version of project structure. We added docs, DB, and I have skipped the case tool directory, but you can add that one as well. DB and folder with initial files. So make sure that provide brief description and then the description about what changes you have made, and then commit to main. So the commit is done. Now the next step is to push this change, right? So we have done the cloning, we have pulled the changes, we have done with the fetches, we have done with the changes, and there were no conflicts. Now we are ready to stage and commit. So we have committed our changes and now we are ready to push our changes. Okay, so let's push it. Push origin. So the changes are committed to the cloud version of our main repository. You can go and see the what changes were done so far. So this is the first version, this is the second version, and the rest of the changes, right? Now when you refresh your main branch, let's go back to, because we have committed all changes to the main. So we just go to the main branch and you see that all changes are here now. The code, the DB, the docs, and the case tool you can create it by yourself, and then submit your star UML or case tool project to that folder. So this was the basic introduction about overview of how the GitHub is working, how to set up your project.